Welcome to the Wonder Lab, where curiosity travels farther than rockets and wonder knows no boundaries. In the endless silence of space, two small messengers drift beyond the reach of our sun, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Launched more than 4 decades ago, they have crossed the borders of our solar system, carrying the voice of humanity into the eternal dark. They were not meant to last forever. Yet somehow they still whisper from the edge of the stars. This is not just the story of a spacecraft. It is the story of us, of our hunger to explore, to understand, and to reach for something beyond the imaginable. Each golden signal they send is a heartbeat of human curiosity, a fragile reminder that even in the vast emptiness, we dared to say, "We are here." The Voyagers have seen worlds that no eye has ever seen, the volcanic fires of Io, the icy storms of Neptune, the electric dance of Jupiter's auroras, and then silence. They drifted further into the dark sea between stars, a place where time slows, where sunlight fades, where space itself begins to whisper its ancient secrets. Beyond the solar system lies the interstellar void, a realm untouched by planets, where cosmic winds meet the unknown. Here the Voyagers continue their journey like silent ghosts of a civilization still reaching for meaning. Their antennas, now decades old, still listen, still transmit faint messages across billions of kilometers. The universe around them hums with mystery, magnetic fields twisting, particles dancing in invisible storms, and perhaps the quiet echoes of things we cannot yet name. Each discovery redefines what we thought we knew about the cosmos and about ourselves. Somewhere out there, a golden record spins, a time capsule of Earth carrying our music, our voices, our dreams, a map of who we were and who we hope to become if one day another intelligence finds it. They will hear the laughter of children, the sound of the ocean, the heartbeat of humanity, and perhaps they will know that we too once looked up and wondered. This is the journey of Voyager, a story not of machines, but of human spirit, of courage, of curiosity that defies time itself. As the stars grow distant and the light fades into silence, one truth remains eternal. Our need to explore will never end. Welcome, once again, to the Wonder Lab, where we unravel the hidden truths of the universe, one mystery at a time. It began with a question as old as the human mind itself. What lies beyond the stars we see? In the early 1970s, humanity stood on the threshold of a new era. We had taken our first small steps on the moon. We had seen our blue planet rise above the lunar horizon, but beyond that, beyond the familiar circle of our solar system, lay a vast, untouched frontier. And so the dream began. To send a messenger into the unknown. It was called Voyager, a name that carried both poetry and purpose. 2 identical spacecraft, twins in design, built not for a short mission, but for a journey that would outlive their makers. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Born from human hands, guided by human hope. In a quiet laboratory at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, engineers and scientists worked night after night. They knew this mission was not just another scientific experiment. It was a message, a declaration that humankind would not remain confined to its cradle. Each wire, each bolt, each golden plate was crafted with care, as though it were destined to become eternal. The Grand Tour, that was the name of the opportunity they saw. Once every 176 years, the giant planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, align in such a way that a single spacecraft can visit all of them using gravity itself as a slingshot. It was a cosmic window that would not open again for lifetimes. If humanity was to seize it, the time was now. August 20, 1977, Cape Canaveral. The air was thick with humidity and anticipation. Voyager 2 was the first to rise, its engines igniting with a thunder that shook the Earth. Just 16 days later, Voyager 1 followed, blazing into the morning sky, its destination, not a planet, but forever. Each spacecraft carried more than instruments. They carried a golden record, a message from Earth. Etched into the grooves of that golden disk were the sounds of our world. Waves crashing on distant shores, the songs of birds, the laughter of children, the heartbeat of a mother, and words in 55 human languages, greeting whatever life might one day listen. "Hello from the children of planet Earth," it said. For the first time, humanity was speaking to the universe, not with arrogance but with humility, as a species aware of its fragility, yet unafraid to dream. As Voyager 1 and 2 left the grasp of Earth's gravity, they turned their instruments toward the giants that awaited them, Jupiter and Saturn. What they would find there would forever change our understanding of the cosmos. But before the discoveries came, the silence. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Across billions of kilometers, faint signals arrived at mission control. Delayed, distorted, fragile. Each one was a whisper from the dark, proof that our creation was still alive, still traveling, still listening. For every heartbeat of data that returned, scientists held their breath. Each signal was like a pulse of humanity, echoing across time and distance. No one knew then that these small machines would one day leave the solar system entirely, that they would drift for decades, carrying our message into eternity, that long after their creators were gone, their journey would continue, silent, steady, endless. Voyager was more than a spacecraft. It was a mirror, reflecting our deepest longing to know who we are, where we come from, and where we might go. As the faint golden light of the sun faded behind them, the Voyagers set course for the cosmic ocean. Their destination, the unknown, and thus began one of the greatest odysseys in the history of exploration, a journey that would reveal the secrets of the galaxy. When Voyager crossed the invisible border that separated Earth's realm from the deep solar system, it entered a region where sunlight weakened into a cold, golden haze, and silence reigned, a silence so complete that even time seemed to slow. Ahead waited 4 colossal worlds, each a kingdom of its own, each holding secrets untouched since the dawn of creation. The encounter with Jupiter in early 1979, Voyager 1 approached Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system, a storm-wrapped giant more massive than all the other planets combined. As its cameras opened their digital eyes, the first close-up images stunned the world. We saw a planet alive with motion, vast belts of ammonia clouds, swirling cyclones, and a red storm larger than our entire planet. The Great Red Spot, a hurricane that had raged for centuries. Lightning flashed across its turbulent atmosphere. Auroras danced near its poles, glowing like ghostly curtains of green and blue. The planet was no longer just a distant sphere that was a living world. And then something even more astonishing appeared. Voyager's instruments detected volcanic activity, not on Jupiter itself, but on one of its moons. Mountains of molten rock, eruptions hundreds of kilometers high. The first active volcanoes ever seen beyond Earth. This single discovery rewrote the science books and revealed that the solar system was far from dead. It was alive, restless, and dynamic. Saturn, the jewel of the cosmos after Jupiter, Voyager turned its gaze toward Saturn, a world of light and shadow, encircled by rings so delicate and vast that they seemed like the brushstrokes of a cosmic artist. When the spacecraft arrived in 1980, its cameras unveiled a spectacle beyond imagination. The rings were not solid. They were made of billions of icy fragments, ranging from dust grains to house-sized boulders, each reflecting sunlight like a frozen mirror. Voyager discovered new moons hidden among those rings, tiny shepherds that kept the ring particles from scattering into the void. It revealed storms churning through Saturn's atmosphere and a strange, persistent hexagon swirling at the planet's north pole, a mystery that scientists still study today. Perhaps the most haunting moment came when Voyager captured the eclipsed sun behind Saturn's rings. For a moment, the planet appeared as a black silhouette surrounded by an ethereal halo of light, a scene that seemed more like a dream than reality. The twin continues the Odyssey, while Voyager 1 focused on Jupiter and Saturn. Its twin, Voyager 2, continued on a more daring route, a path that would take it past Uranus and Neptune, becoming the first and only spacecraft ever to visit them. At Uranus in 1986, Voyager 2 found a planet so pale and quiet that it seemed almost frozen in time. But beneath that calm exterior, it discovered powerful winds and a magnetic field strangely tilted from the planet's axis. 3 years later, in 1989, the spacecraft reached Neptune, the most distant giant, deep blue and fierce. Voyager 2 recorded winds blowing faster than any in the solar system, up to 2,000 kilometers per hour. It found a dark storm, the Great Dark Spot, a massive hurricane that roamed Neptune's atmosphere like a shadow. In that moment, humanity's eyes touched the edge of its own system. From Mercury to Neptune, we had finally seen them all. The family portrait. Before Voyager 1 began its escape into interstellar space, it turned its camera one last time toward home. It captured what would later be known as the family portrait, a mosaic of 6 planets, including a faint blue pixel suspended in darkness. That pixel was Earth, our home, a world so small, so fragile, and yet the only place we know where life exists, as Carl Sagan would later describe it. That's here. That's home. That's us, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. In those distant moments, the Voyagers became more than machines. They became our eyes, our memories, our cosmic ambassadors. They revealed that beauty and chaos coexist in the heavens, and that even in the cold vastness of space, we are connected to it all. But as their cameras dimmed and their energy waned, a new chapter was waiting, a journey not through planets, but through the interstellar frontier itself. After its historic encounters with the planets, Voyager drifted toward the edge of the known. There were no more worlds ahead, no bright orbits to follow, no gravitational slingshots to guide the way, only the cold, infinite dark. It was entering a region that no human creation had ever reached, the heliosphere, the vast bubble carved into space by our sun's magnetic winds. Inside this invisible cocoon, every planet, comet, and grain of dust is protected by the solar wind, a continuous stream of charged particles racing outward from the sun. But somewhere, at the farthest reaches of that influence, the solar wind slows, collides with the interstellar medium, and finally stops. That is the border, the heliopause, the edge of the sun's domain, and the beginning of the true interstellar ocean. For decades, scientists wondered, where exactly does our solar system end? How far must a traveler go before the sun becomes just another star among billions? Voyager was about to find out. The long journey. Outward year after year, the spacecraft pressed onward. Its power, drawn from decaying plutonium, weakened slowly, but its heart, the instruments, the antenna, the memory of humanity, endured. The signals grew fainter. The gap between question and answer stretched longer with each passing hour. It took more than 17 hours for a single message to travel from Earth to Voyager and another 17 to come back. Each word, each byte of data had to cross billions of kilometers, a whisper carried on cosmic winds. By the early 2000s, Voyager 1 had reached a strange new region, the heliosphere. Here, the solar wind was no longer smooth and fast. It had slowed, twisted, and tangled with forces from beyond. The data showed shock waves, magnetic distortions, and a buildup of particles from interstellar space pressing in. The sun's protective bubble was not a perfect sphere. It was distorted, stretched, alive, and then came the moment humanity had waited for. Crossing the boundary on August 25, 2012, Voyager 1 detected a sudden, dramatic change. The number of solar particles around it dropped sharply, and at the same time, cosmic rays from interstellar space surged in. The instruments measured a new kind of silence, a density of plasma unlike anything seen before. Voyager had crossed the heliopause. It had left the solar system. For the first time in history, a creation of Earth had entered the space between the stars. Think of that for a moment. A small machine, no larger than a car built by hands that would one day turn to dust, now drifting through a realm untouched by the sun. Billions of kilometers away, it carried the dreams of a species that had once looked up from caves at the night sky and wondered what lay beyond. And there it was. Beyond. The interstellar medium, the space beyond the heliosphere, is not empty. It is filled with a thin ocean of charged particles, the remnants of dead stars and ancient supernovae. Here, every grain of dust, every atom, tells a story billions of years old. Voyager's instruments recorded faint magnetic vibrations, the low hum of interstellar plasma, a cosmic symphony that had been playing long before Earth existed. Scientists listened in awe as data revealed that the universe itself had a kind of quiet rhythm, a pulse that echoed through infinity. Voyager was now part of that rhythm, a silent observer in a sea of stars. The endless drift. As it moved deeper into interstellar space, its instruments aged, its power faded, and yet it persisted. Every few months, a faint signal would reach NASA's Deep Space Network, a message written in ones and zeros, the heartbeat of a ghost still traveling through the dark. Voyager 1, the most distant object ever made by human hands, was now over 23 billion kilometers from home. Voyager 2 years later would follow, crossing its own boundary into the interstellar medium. Together, they became twin lanterns, tiny beacons moving slowly outward, marking the place where the sun ends and the stars begin. And somewhere within their quiet circuits, a golden record still spins, our message to the cosmos, whispering, "We were here. We reached for the stars." When Voyager left the comforting cradle of the sun's influence, it entered a place that was not truly empty, but alive with forces unseen, currents and fields stretching across the galaxy like invisible threads. These were the magnetic fields of the universe, the silent architects of cosmic order. They shape galaxies, bend radiation, and carve the pathways that particles follow for billions of years. Voyager had no eyes, no way to see these hidden lines of force, but it could feel them. Its magnetometers, tiny sensors built decades earlier, began to sense a new kind of harmony in the chaos. The direction of the magnetic field had changed. The lines no longer pointed back toward the sun, but aligned with the interstellar medium, a sure sign that Voyager had entered the great galactic ocean. The language of the cosmos. In space, there is no sound, but there are vibrations, waves that travel through plasma, ripples that whisper the structure of the unseen. When Voyager crossed the heliopause, its instruments began picking up faint oscillations. To human ears, they could be translated as a delicate, ghostly hum, a cosmic tone resonating at the edge of silence. NASA scientists amplified the signals, and what they heard felt almost spiritual, a chorus of plasma waves, the music of the interstellar medium. Each vibration told a story, how dense the plasma was, how far the solar wind stretched, how deep Voyager had gone into the heart of the galaxy. It was the first time in history that humanity had heard the sound of interstellar space, and in those vibrations there was a rhythm, slow, eternal, and older than the stars themselves. The dance of cosmic rays beyond the heliosphere. Space becomes harsh and electric. Here, high-energy particles, cosmic rays, stream through the void at nearly the speed of light. They are born in the violent hearts of dying stars, carried outward by supernova explosions, forged in the crucible of creation itself. Inside the solar system, the sun's magnetic shield keeps many of them at bay. But once Voyager stepped outside that protection, the detectors saw a dramatic rise in cosmic radiation. These were messengers from other worlds, particles that had crossed the galaxy for millions of years before touching a sensor built by human hands. They revealed what no telescope could see, the true texture of interstellar space, its density, its currents, its hidden violence. Every particle carried a trace of a star long dead, and in studying them, Voyager was reading the ashes of ancient suns, the fading voice of the sun even. As Voyager drifted farther away, it continued to monitor the faint echo of the solar wind. Scientists watched as the sun's influence grew weaker and weaker, its magnetic tendrils fading into darkness. At last, only a whisper remained, a final heartbeat of the solar breeze reaching into the void. It was here that scientists truly understood the fragility of our solar neighborhood. Our sun, so vast and powerful to us, is only a flicker, a candle in a cathedral of billions. And yet, that tiny flame nurtures everything we have ever known, our oceans, our trees, our hearts. Our history, Voyager's discoveries humbled us, showed us how small we are, and yet how far we can reach, a mirror to humanity through data and radio waves. Voyager told us more about ourselves than about space. It reminded us that even the smallest creation, if made with curiosity, if guided by wonder, can cross the boundaries of eternity. Each number it transmitted, each particle it counted, was not just science. It was testimony that humanity is more than its wars, more than its fleeting empires. We are explorers, a species meant to wonder, to ask, to dream beyond the edge of what we know. And in the cold, unending dark, Voyager whispered that truth back to us. In the heart of each Voyager spacecraft, bolted to its side like a timeless secret, rests a shining golden disk. It is called the Golden Record, a message from Earth, a time capsule of who we were, and who we hope to be. Forged in copper, plated in gold, it was meant to last 1 billion years. Long after our cities crumble, long after our voices fade, if ever found, it would speak for all of humanity. It would tell the story of our fragile blue world, floating in the quiet sea of the cosmos. A letter to the unknown. In 1977, when Voyager was being built, scientists, poets, musicians, and dreamers gathered to decide, if aliens ever find this record, what should we say? How do you describe an entire civilization in the space of a few sounds and pictures? What language do you use when your listener might not even have eyes or ears? They chose the most universal language of all, music, images, and emotion. On the record, they placed the sounds of Earth, the laughter of a child, the cry of a newborn baby, the chirping of birds at dawn, the rhythm of thunder, the waves that kiss the shore, and music, from Bach and Beethoven to the blues of Blind Willie Johnson. to the ancient drums of Senegal, to a love song from Peru. 55 languages greet the stars, from Akkadian, spoken 6,000 years ago, to English, Arabic, Urdu, Mandarin, and beyond. Each voice says the same thing in different ways. Hello, we are here. We existed. A portrait of Earth alongside the music and greetings. Voyager carries 115 images etched into the record. They show our world as it was, mountains veiled in clouds, the curve of oceans, a mother feeding her child, a heartbeat on a medical monitor, and the structure of DNA, the code of life itself. There are pictures of animals, cities, rivers, and a diagram showing the location of our sun among the stars. The record even carries the sound of a human kiss, our most universal gesture of affection. Together, these sounds and images form a cosmic biography, the essence of life on Earth, captured in a single disc of gold. The sounds of home to protect it from time and radiation. The record was sealed inside a protective case, engraved with instructions for how to play it, in symbols, not words. On its cover, there's a map showing the position of our solar system and the pulsars that point the way. If another civilization ever finds it, they could decode where it came from and when it was sent. In that way, the Golden Record is not just a message. It is a map home, a thread connecting the unknown back to us. A billion-year journey, the record now travels through the deep dark, carried by machines older than most of the people alive today. No one knows if it will ever be found. It may drift through the stars for eons, untouched, unseen, unplayed, but that doesn't matter, because it was never about being found. It was about hope, about saying, in the only way we knew how, that humanity, for all its flaws and chaos, was capable of beauty, that in a universe vast and indifferent, we once took a moment to send out a song. Carl Sagan's vision. Carl Sagan, the scientist who led the project, once said, "The spacecraft will be encountered and the record played only if there are advanced spacefaring civilizations in interstellar space." But the launching of this bottle into the cosmic ocean says something very hopeful about life on this planet. He was right. Even if no one ever hears it, the record already fulfilled its purpose because it united us. It reminded us that we are one planet, one fragile species, sharing one home under one sun. A message to eternity as Voyager drifts farther, its power fading with each year. The Golden Record remains silent, a sleeping message waiting in the dark. Perhaps billions of years from now, when the sun has died and Earth is only a memory, someone or something will find it. They will touch the golden surface, trace the grooves with wonder, and hear our distant voices. They will learn that once, in a forgotten corner of the Milky Way, there lived a small species that dared to dream, and, in their dreams, they reached for the stars. As Voyager drifted beyond the last breath of sunlight, the distance between it and home grew unthinkably vast. 1 billion kilometers became 10 billion, 10 became 20. Light itself, the fastest thing in the universe, now took more than 22 hours to reach it. Every message from Earth was a whisper into darkness, and every reply from Voyager was an echo returning from eternity. The spacecraft's heart still pulsed, powered by a tiny nuclear generator, decaying atom by atom, keeping its systems alive in the cosmic cold. But that warmth would not last forever. Each year its instruments dimmed. Each year NASA engineers had to choose which senses to shut down, like slowly closing the eyes of a sleeping friend. The slow fading of light Voyager's instruments once captured the storms of Jupiter, the rings of Saturn, the frozen winds of Neptune. Now they measured silence. Beyond the heliosphere, there are no more planets to see, no moons to photograph. Only the faint radiation of the galaxy itself. Its cameras had long been turned off to save power. to let the transmitter live just a little longer. All that remained was the faint hum of data, cosmic ray counts, plasma readings, and a heartbeat signal repeating across the stars. NASA's Deep Space Network, those vast dishes in California, Spain, and Australia, still listen every day. Sometimes they hear the faint rhythmic pulse, a sequence of zeros and ones, Voyager saying, "I'm still here." And every time that signal returns, even after 47 years, scientists feel a quiet shiver because they know that each transmission has traveled across time itself. The engineers of memory in a small control room on Earth. A handful of engineers, many younger than the spacecraft itself, still care for it. They speak to Voyager in a language of mathematics, sending instructions so old that modern computers can barely translate them. Every command must be precise, every bit of energy sacred. Sometimes, when a command takes 22 hours to reach the probe and 22 hours to return, they must wait 2 full days just to see if a single switch was successful. It is patience beyond imagination, a dance between time, technology, and hope, and yet they continue because Voyager still listens. The last breath of power by 2025, most of its instruments had been turned off. Only the vital few remained, those that could still tell us something about the space between stars. The power source, a radioisotope thermoelectric generator, has been fading slowly since launch. Its warmth, once enough to run 11 instruments, can now sustain only 1 or 2. The engineers know that one day soon, perhaps this year, perhaps the next, the final signal will fade into static. There will be no sound, no explosion, no ending, just a quiet loss. As Voyager becomes one with the dark, it will keep traveling, though, forever. It will not stop, it will not slow. It will drift through the Milky Way for millions of years, carrying a golden memory of Earth. Echoes from the edge, even in its fading years, Voyager sent surprises. It detected unexpected plasma waves, magnetic whispers that hint at the very texture of interstellar space. Every discovery, no matter how faint, was a reminder the universe is alive, changing, breathing, evolving, and somehow in all that cosmic immensity, a little machine from Earth was listening. The poetry of silence. When the final transmission fades, Voyager will become what it always was, a messenger, a fragment of our species' curiosity, a relic of our first step into the infinite. It will outlive our languages, our empires, our oceans and skies, and perhaps someday a traveler, human or otherwise, will find it. They will see the name faintly carved on its side, Voyager, and they will wonder, who built this? Who dreamed this into existence? They may find the golden record, decode its images, hear the music of Earth, and learn that once upon a time there lived a species that dared to whisper across eternity. There are moments in history when humanity does something so vast, so humble and so poetic that it redefines who we are. Voyager was one of those moments. It wasn't just a spacecraft. It was a mirror held up to our species, reflecting both our fragility and our greatness. Through its long, lonely journey, Voyager taught us that exploration isn't about power or conquest. It's about connection, about our eternal need to understand, to reach beyond the horizon, to touch the unknown and whisper, "Are we alone?" The pale blue dot in 1990, before its cameras were shut down forever, Voyager 1 turned around one last time and took a picture of Earth. For more than 6 billion kilometers away, our planet was just a tiny speck of light, a pale blue dot, floating in a vast cosmic sea. In that faint pixel, you could fit every story ever told, every life ever lived, every war and peace, every love and heartbreak. Carl Sagan looked at that image and said, Look again at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. He reminded us that all our triumphs and tragedies, all our kings and gods and empires, exist on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Voyager made us see ourselves, not as nations, not as tribes, but as one fragile family sharing a single, precious world, the redefinition of distance before Voyager. The outer planets were blurry spots in telescopes. After Voyager, they became worlds. We saw the stormy eye of Jupiter's great red spot, a hurricane larger than Earth. We saw the icy rings of Saturn, so delicate they looked like frozen light. We saw Neptune's sapphire storms and Uranus tilted sideways like a sleeping giant. Voyager turned distant points of light into living worlds, each with its own story, its own beauty, its own mystery. It showed us that the universe is not an empty void, but a vast, vibrant ecosystem of motion and energy. And somehow, it made that infinity feel personal. A human achievement beyond Time Voyager's mission was built with 1970s technology, less computing power than a digital watch today. Yet, it has lasted for nearly half a century, outliving its designers, outliving the world that launched it. It became a symbol of endurance, proof that curiosity, once set free, can travel farther than any machine or mind ever dreamed. When humanity sent Voyager, we also sent a message to our future selves that even when the world is divided, even when fear and chaos rise, there are still some who build bridges to the stars. That message still travels, carried by golden grooves, spinning silently through forever, Voyager and the human spirit. The true legacy of Voyager is not the data it sent home, but the questions it left behind. What lies beyond? Who else might be listening? And what will they think when they hear us sing? Voyager reminds us that curiosity is not just a scientific instinct, it's a moral compass. It tells us that we belong to something greater, that our purpose is not only to survive, but to understand, and through understanding, to love this universe a little more. From Earth to eternity one day, Voyager will stop transmitting. The last whisper will fade, and the stars will carry it away, but its story will never die, because Voyager is not just out there, it's in us. In every child who looks up at the night sky and wonders, in every artist who paints the cosmos, in every scientist who listens for signals from the dark, it is the echo of a promise that we will not stop reaching. As long as there are eyes to see, minds to imagine, and hearts to dream, we will keep sending our questions into the stars. Voyager was humanity's first whisper into the cosmic sea, but it will not be our last. In the silence that followed its departure, new generations of dreamers began to rise, scientists, engineers, and visionaries who grew up staring at the same stars and wondering how far we could go next. They listened to the faint signals from Voyager and felt something awaken within them, a promise that the universe is not finished listening. The dawn of a new age. It has been decades since Voyager began its journey, yet its legacy still echoes through every mission that leaves Earth. When the James Webb Space Telescope unfolded its golden mirrors, it continued Voyager's mission, not by traveling outward, but by looking deeper than ever before. It peers into the birth of galaxies, into light that has traveled for 13 billion years, revealing the universe as it once was, young, wild, and full of fire. In those ancient lights, we see our own cosmic beginnings. Voyager showed us how far we could reach. Webb shows us how far we came. The Interstellar probe. Voyager's air now. Scientists are dreaming even bigger. A mission called the Interstellar Probe, a spacecraft that could one day go twice as far as Voyager, and truly explore the space between the stars. Where Voyager glanced beyond the heliosphere, the interstellar probe will live there. It will carry new instruments, new eyes, new hearts built by those who were once children watching Voyager's story unfold. It will ask the questions Voyager could not. How does interstellar space truly behave? Where does the sun's influence truly end? And what lies beyond the boundaries of our galactic home? If launched in the 2030s, it could travel for a century-long message of human patience and perseverance. And when it crosses the same threshold Voyager once crossed, it will look back upon its predecessor and whisper through the stars, "We followed your path." Listening to the universe with every new mission, we are learning to listen better, to decode the faint hum of distant worlds, to read the invisible patterns of cosmic radiation, to translate the language of gravity and time. Humanity's ears now stretch across the solar system, from the Voyager probes still whispering at the edge, to the Parker solar probe kissing the sun, to Perseverance crawling across the Martian dust. Every one of them is a continuation of that first act of courage, sending a piece of ourselves into the unknown, trusting the void to speak back, and it does. The universe listens, not with words, but with light, energy, and wonder. Humanity's next step, Voyager, taught us to leave footprints in the stars. Now we are preparing to walk among them. In the decades ahead, humanity will return to the moon, set foot on Mars, and build ships capable of sailing between the planets. We will send probes to icy moons like Europa and Enceladus, where oceans may hide beneath frozen shells. And perhaps, just perhaps, life waits for us to find it. Each mission will carry the echo of Voyager, its courage, its silence, its golden memory, because Voyager wasn't just about technology. It was about faith. Faith that the unknown can be understood, that darkness can be explored, that loneliness can be replaced by discovery. The unbroken chain, from the first fire built by our ancestors to the telescopes scanning distant galaxies, humanity's story has always been the same. We look up, we wonder, and we reach. Voyager was not an ending. It was the first link in an unbroken chain of curiosity stretching into eternity. Someday, maybe millions of years from now, our descendants, or someone else, will find the golden record drifting quietly through the dark. They will listen, and in that moment the story of Voyager will begin again, a future, written in the stars. Perhaps one day, a future spacecraft will carry another golden record, not just of Earth, but of humanity among the stars, a record that says, "We made it. We're still here. We found our place among the galaxies. Until then, Voyager remains our messenger, our scout, our whisper in the eternal night." The eternal journey, long after the Voyagers vanish into the dark. Humanity will still look up at the night sky, searching, wondering, reaching. It is not the machine that travels. It is the mind, the soul. The question itself. From the beginning of time, humans have been travelers. We crossed mountains, oceans, and horizons, chasing light, chasing warmth, chasing understanding. Every journey was a reflection of the same impulse, to know what lies beyond. Voyager was simply the latest expression of that instinct, a mechanical dream launched into infinity. But what if one day we ourselves become the traveler? The age of light in the far future, when rockets are ancient relics and gravity no longer binds our imagination, humankind may learn to ride the very fabric of reality. We will bend light to our will, fold space like pages in a book, and step across stars as easily as we once crossed rivers. Science already whispers of such possibilities. Quantum teleportation, warp drives, artificial consciousness capable of surviving interstellar time. If the body cannot endure the journey, Perhaps the mind can. Encoded as light, we might send our consciousness through the cosmos. Digital Voyagers, carrying memories instead of matter, and when we arrive on another world, perhaps we will rebuild ourselves there, born again under a foreign sun made of new atoms, but carrying the same eternal question, who are we? Becoming the message when Voyager left Earth, it carried a golden record, a message from humanity to the cosmos. But one day we may become that message. Our descendants, human or otherwise, will not just send symbols of who we were. They will be those symbols. Every heartbeat, every breath, every spark of consciousness will be a continuation of that original greeting etched onto the golden record. We were here. We existed. We dreamed. In this sense, Voyager was not just a probe. It was a prophecy, a whisper that one day the universe itself will carry us within it, as energy, as thought, as memory. The collapse of time, as we know it, is only a human construct. Out there, among the stars, past, present, and future, dissolve into one continuous moment. Voyager, still traveling outward, exists in a timeline we can barely comprehend. The light from Earth that left the day it launched still travels beside it. Two messengers, born of the same moment, forever chasing eternity, and in that sense, we are all time travelers, every heartbeat an echo of a billion years past, every thought a ripple toward a future yet unborn. The atoms in your body were forged in the hearts of dying stars. So when you look up at the night sky, you're not looking into the unknown, you're looking into your reflection. The human legacy one day, the sun will fade. The earth will fall silent. The galaxies will drift apart, but perhaps somewhere in the frozen vastness, a tiny spark of humanity will remain. Maybe it will be Voyager, still carrying its golden record. Or maybe it will be something far greater, a civilization that learned not just to survive the universe, but to become part of it, because perhaps immortality isn't about living forever. It's about being remembered, being felt, being heard, even if only as a faint signal traveling through endless night. The cosmic mirror in the end, the universe is not a destination. It is a mirror. Every time we explore it, we see more clearly who we are. We are not separate from the stars. We are their continuation, their descendants, their storytellers. Voyager didn't just leave Earth, it took Earth with it. Every song, every heartbeat, every hope travels with that tiny craft, carved in gold, carried by faith, and as it drifts beyond the reach of our sun, it reminds us the human story is not bound by time or space. We are forever becoming. The final whisper, billions of kilometers from home, Voyager drifts through an ocean of black. No sunlight, no warmth, only the hum of the universe. Its instruments, once bright with purpose, are slowly dimming. The radioisotope heart that kept it alive is fading, atom by atom. One day soon, its power will fall below the threshold. Its systems will go silent. The signal will stop, and the last message from humanity's farthest traveler will disappear into the static of space. But that silence, that beautiful, endless silence, will not mean the end. It will mean the beginning of eternity, the echo that never dies. When Voyager sends its final transmission, it will take over 21 hours for that signal to reach Earth, a heartbeat stretched across time. A final "I am here," echoing through 1,000 generations of distance. Even when the data ends, the last wave of radio energy will keep traveling. It will move forever, past stars unborn, through galaxies unseen, outliving our world, our sun, and everything we know. That single wave, racing through the void, will forever carry a piece of us, a flicker of intelligence, a spark of wonder. In that moment, Humanity becomes infinite, the legacy of light. Someday, long after the earth is gone, a distant civilization may detect that faint whisper. Maybe they will decode the golden record. Maybe they will hear the laughter of a child, the heartbeat of a mother, the sounds of rain on a forest floor, and maybe, just maybe, they will understand that once, long ago, a fragile species from a small blue world looked to the sky and said, "We are not afraid to dream. That record, coated in gold, was never just metal. It was a mirror, showing what we hope to be, curious, compassionate, and brave enough to send love into the unknown. When the stars grow old far in the future, the stars will fade. Galaxies will drift apart, and the cosmos will enter its quiet age. And somewhere in that eternal dusk, Voyager will still be there, frozen, untouched, sailing through the deep silence like a memory that refuses to die. Its journey will outlast our species, our civilizations, our languages, our gods, and yet, in that lonely craft, our essence remains, our questions, our voices, our light. The human story never ends. Every explorer, every artist, every thinker is a continuation of Voyager's path. Every time we create, we launch another signal into the dark. The universe will one day go quiet, but before it does, it will have known us. We left a mark not of power, but of curiosity, not of conquest, but of connection, because the universe doesn't remember empires. It remembers wonder, the eternal return. So, as the final signal fades into silence, remember this: we are still traveling. We are still learning. We are still reaching for the stars. Voyager was our messenger, but we are the message. The atoms that built us will rise again into new suns. The energy that drives us will return to the cosmos, and in some distant age, under another sky, we will look up once more and whisper, where endings are not endings, but beginnings disguised as silence, the quiet between stars. There is a moment, and after the last transmission, after the final hum of data fades, when space itself seems to listen, in that stillness the universe holds its breath. Voyager, now adrift in eternal night, is no longer a machine. It is memory, it is myth, it is us. Its path, stretching through billions of years, will never be seen again. And yet, its existence changes everything. Because the moment we reached for the stars, we changed what it means to be human. The memory of light, every ray of sunlight that touches Earth, began its journey millions of years ago. Every breath you take was once stardust reborn. Light never truly dies. It only changes form, echoing through time, carrying the fingerprints of everything it has touched. And maybe, one day, as a future traveler watches the first sunrise on another world, they will feel something familiar, a warmth, a whisper, and they will remember that once, long ago, beings made of light sent their dreams into the dark. The infinite connection, in every galaxy, in every atom, the same laws hum the same tune, a song of gravity, of life, of wonder. It means that no matter how far we travel, we are never truly lost. The stars are not distant. They are within us. The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, the gold in our hands, all forged in the hearts of stars that burned before Earth even existed. We are the universe remembering itself. The final thought may be one day, Voyager will be found again by someone somewhere, who will hold that golden record up to a new sun and hear our voice. They will listen to the heartbeat of Earth, the laughter of children, the cry of a whale, the pulse of life from a world long gone, and in that moment they will know what we tried to say, that we were here, that we loved, that we wondered. The return of light, and so as the stars fade and time itself folds into silence, one truth remains, that curiosity is the purest form of light. It never stops. It never dies. It only finds new worlds to illuminate, and that light, the the light of the Wonder Lab will continue to shine through every question ever asked, through every soul that dares to look up and whisper to the cosmos. We are still listening.